The war was over. Or so we thought. The great silver ships of the invaders no longer scarred our skies. They had come from a place beyond the stars, a cold and silent darkness. They brought with them weapons of light and a hunger for our world. But they hadn't counted on us. They hadn't counted on the moon. They hadn't counted on the beast that sleeps inside some men. We fought them in the forests and in the streets. We tore through their metal skins with tooth and claw. We were the Earth's hidden monsters, its last line of defense. The werewolves had won. For a time there was peace, a strange, heavy kind of peace. The world was licking its wounds, trying to forget the terror that had fallen from above. The wreckage of their technology was everywhere. Twisted metal skeletons lay silent in farmers' fields. Their dead, the strange grey creatures with eyes like black oil, were buried deep in the earth. We, the changed, returned to our human lives. We worked our jobs, we talked to our neighbors, but we always kept one eye on the moon and one ear to the wind. We knew the victory felt too easy. It was a quiet that felt like the breath held before a scream. Then the stories began, whispers at first, strange sightings in the backwoods where the biggest battles had been fought, animals found in the morning, torn apart in ways that were not natural, not by wolf, not by bear, something else, something new. People went missing from lonely farmhouses on the edge of the woods. The police found tracks that made no sense. They were big, like a wolf's, but they were wrong. The shape was twisted. The gait was unnatural. It was a footprint from a nightmare, a sign that our war was not truly over. A new chapter was beginning. We knew it wasn't the old invaders. Their ships were gone, their armies broken. This was something different, an echo of the war, a shadow left behind. We started to patrol again, our packs gathering under the full moon's light. The change came, the familiar pain, the stretching of bone and sinew. Our fur grew thick, our senses sharpened. We ran through the moonlit forests, searching for the source of this new fear. We could smell it in the air. It was the scent of alien blood, cold and metallic, but it was mixed with something else, something horribly, terribly familiar. It smelled like us. The first one we saw was near Miller's Creek. It stood in a clearing, bathed in moonlight. It was a thing of pure horror. It had the shape of a wolf, but it was all wrong. Its skin was a sickly grey like the aliens we had fought, but patches of coarse black fur grew out of it in ugly clumps. Its limbs were too long, bending at angles that a wolf's should not. 2 arms, like an alien's, sprouted from its back, ending in long sharp talons that dripped with a strange glowing ooze. It was a hybrid, a twisted mix of their biology and our curse. The cosmic beast. These creatures were not like the aliens we had fought before. The original invaders were soldiers. They had guns and ships. They were smart, but they were predictable. These hybrids were different. They were pure instinctual predators. They possessed the raw strength and savagery of a werewolf, but it was amplified by their alien physiology. They were faster than us, their long limbs carrying them across the ground in a blur. They could leap to impossible heights, clinging to trees and canyon walls with their extra limbs. It was our strength, our own wild power, turned against us in a monstrous new form. Their greatest weapon was something we could not have imagined. They didn't just have claws and teeth. Some of them could spit a corrosive acid, the same substance that powered the alien weapons. It sizzled and burned whatever it touched, turning solid rock into smoking slush. Others had a psychic howl. It wasn't a sound you heard with your ears. It was a scream that crashed directly into your mind, filling your head with images of dying stars and cold, empty space. It paralyzed you with a terror that came from beyond the veil of sanity. It was a weapon made to break a wolf's spirit. We learned how they were made. It was a final, desperate act of the dying alien race. Their last crashed ships contained viral bombs. These weren't explosives, but biological agents. They spread a contagion, a genetic plague. It sought out the alien dead and reanimated them, but it needed a catalyst. It needed a powerful, adaptable genetic code to complete the transformation. And what it found was the lingering essence of our own kind, the blood and fur we shed in our great battles. The Earth itself was now giving birth to these cosmic beasts. They were the planet's fever, a sickness born from war. The battles were brutal. They were nothing like the war before. When we fought the aliens, it was a fight against invaders. This felt different. This felt like fighting a disease. We would track the hybrids through the dense forests, our paws silent on the pine needles. The air would be thick with the smell of ozone and decay. Then they would burst from the shadows, a whirlwind of grey skin and black fur. Claws met claws, teeth snapped at grotesque, elongated throats. We were fighting our own reflection, twisted and warped by a cosmic mirror. Each fight was a desperate struggle for survival. We were losing. For every one of them we managed to bring down, 2 more seemed to rise from the contaminated soil. Our numbers were small, our packs scattered across the country. They were a growing army of abominations. We fought with the wisdom of generations, the pack tactics that had been passed down through bloodlines. But how do you flank an enemy that can crawl up a sheer cliff face? How do you ambush a creature that can sense your thoughts before you even have them? Their alien minds, combined with wolfish instinct, made them terrifyingly unpredictable. They were chaos given form. The worst part was the fear. Not just our fear, but the fear they spread among the humans. The world had just started to heal, to believe the nightmare was over. Now a new terror was creeping out of the woods. People were afraid to leave their homes after dark. The news called them mutant wolves or government experiments. They didn't know the truth. They didn't know that these monsters were born from a war fought in the shadows, a war they never even knew was won. The secrecy that had protected us for centuries was now a cage, preventing us from warning the world of the true danger. One night, under a blood-red harvest moon, we cornered a pack of them in an old quarry. There were 5 of them and 10 of us. The fight was a blur of violence and pain. I saw my alpha, Jacob, get hit with the acid spit. He howled in agony as his fur and flesh melted away. We fought with the fury of desperation, but it wasn't enough. We were overwhelmed. As one of the hybrids lunged for me, its psychic scream tearing at my mind, I knew this was the end. We had saved the world once, but we couldn't save it from its own ghosts. The cosmic beast was going to win. Suddenly, a new sound cut through the chaos. It was not the howl of a wolf or the mental shriek of a hybrid. It was a low, guttural roar, filled with ancient cold and graveyard dust. From the shadows at the edge of the quarry, a figure emerged. It was tall and gaunt, wrapped in a tattered black cloak. Its skin was pale as bone, and its eyes glowed with a faint red light. It was a vampire, an old one of the masters of the night, a creature we were taught to hate, a sworn enemy of our kind for 1,000 years. The vampire moved with a speed that was not human. It was a flicker of motion, a black streak in the moonlight. It slammed into the hybrid that was about to kill me, sending the creature flying into a rock wall. The other hybrids turned their attention to this new threat, their psychic howls battering against him. The vampire just smiled, a cruel and bloodless grin. The mental attack seemed to have no effect on him. He was already a monster of the mind, a master of fear. He was not their prey, he was their competition. He wasn't alone. More figures emerged from the darkness. Other vampires, their movements silent and graceful. They joined the fray, their ancient strength a match for the hybrid's alien power. A werewolf and a vampire fought back to back, a scene that should have been impossible. We were enemies, locked in a feud as old as time. But we had a common enemy now. These cosmic beasts were a threat to everything, to the natural order of the night itself. They didn't belong here. They were an infection that threatened both our hunting grounds. As the sun threatened the horizon, the last hybrid fell. We stood panting, wounded, among the strange twitching bodies. The vampires stood apart, watching us with their cold, intelligent eyes. The old one, their leader, stepped forward. He did not speak aloud, but his voice echoed in my head, a cold whisper like stones grinding together. "This is not over," he said. "They are a plague upon this world, our world." It was not an offer of friendship. It was a statement of fact, a declaration of a temporary and terrifying new war. An uneasy alliance was born in the blood and dust of that quarry. The monsters of old Earth would stand together against the monsters from the stars.